Okay, so in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, one God. Tonight we're going to have a very interesting topic. We did this before in Namibia, and I did it here in the church life, maybe 15 years ago or something. And it's something that it's very related to our daily life routine, and it's very important to understand the concept of it and how it can help us in our daily struggle and daily routine that we face all the time. Story this actually based on a book by an American guy. His name Max Lucado, and I just summarized the whole book in these few slides. And it's talked about the story of David and Goliath. And we understand maybe not all of us knows what the story about David and Goliath, but I'm sure many of you know about it, right? That anybody doesn't know the story of David and Goliath? Everybody knows about it, or you need just to summarize it again? We understand that it was a continuous war between the Palestinians and the Jews. And God used them sometimes to discipline the Israelites. So what happened? Sometimes when they are away from God and start to worship pagans and start really having troubles, God stirred up the Palestine against them and let them discipline them. But when they repent, came back to God, became good people, they have the victory, over them. But one time, it was really sad that they brought somebody named Goliath. And Goliath, we're going to see the spec of him, is very big guy. And he was humiliating the people, the God's people, every day for 40 days. Try to telling them, I challenge you to find anybody who can fight me. You are all cowards. You don't understand how to fight. And he was trying so hard, to him, and everybody was afraid because no one ever dared to defeat this guy whatsoever. And of course, we'll go with the story and see what happened. Here with Goliath, Goliath was towers above them all, 9 feet tall, 9 inches tall in his stocking feet, wearing 125 pounds of armor, and snarling like a mean contender at the Worldwide Wrestling Federation Championship night. He wears a size 20 collar, a 101 and 2 hats, and 56-inch belt. His bicep burst, high muscles ripple, and boosts blows through the canyon. That is a spec. He was a unique guy. Imagine 9 feet tall. You're talking about more than this wall. This one maybe 8 feet. So imagine somebody is 9 feet tall. 9 feet tall, you're talking about centimeter. It's about 270 centimeter, over 2 meters and 70. It's something very huge. Average person between 160 to 180. I'm a tall guy, or a tall guy considered like 180, 182. That's a very tall guy. So imagine somebody 270 or more centimeters tall, and he is a huge guy, and he's roaring, like a lion in the wilderness, humiliating Israel. What his technique? For 40 days, like the Bible said, for 40 days, twice a day, morning and in the evening, the Palestinian giant started in the front of the Israelite army. 40 days, once in the morning and once in the night, humiliating God's people. That was his technique. So he put a terror in their heart, made them afraid, and everybody was, cannot dare even to think of fight this guy. And we have here 3 points of view. King Saul, we have David, and we have Goliath. This day I defy the ranks of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other. that Goliath is looking down at God's people. He's telling this to them day and night for 40 days. Imagine every day I'm humiliating you for 40 days. I'm telling you, just find a man to fight me. And you're always telling them you're a coward. And even the Bible didn't record this kind of language. But he's trying to put somebody down for 40 days, twice a day. And what's King Saul said, when Saul and his troop heard the Philistines challenge, they were terrified and lost all the hope. Was humiliated and terrified. The king, which is supposed to be the leader, and that day when they choose a king, has to be, you know how to fight and how to be, taking care of the army and everything. He hid in his house. He couldn't do anything. He was just terrified. Hid in his palace. Couldn't do anything because he was afraid and terrified. But what David said, that you come to me with a sword, with a spear, and with a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel. That's the reaction of David, and he was a young boy. Then David versus Goliath, this is God focus versus giant focus. So the problem, how we relate this to us, we have a lot of things, could be the giant that humiliating us on a daily basis. So everybody was focused on the giant, and we're afraid. This giant I cannot defeat. The giant is way, way bigger than me. This giant, so and so and so. But David focused on something else. Focus on God, not focus on the giant. And here's what happened. Giant, we must face them. We might need not to face them alone. Focus first and most on God. The time David did, giant fell. The day he didn't, David did. That you have a giant in your life, humiliating you. And we gotta know examples of them. When you focus on them, you fell. When you focus on God, the giant fell. That's the theme of this whole presentation. And how we're gonna let them fall, that we will know that. So what's your giant? Many. Pornography, alcohol, divorce, drugs, money, work, school, fear, future, entertainment, low self-esteem, failure. This giant. And the devil sometimes remind you with this giant on a daily basis and tell you, you cannot defeat me. I'm stronger than you. You try many times to do this. George, please remind Wahib to fix this door.
It's broken.
It has to be replaced and be fixed because we cannot do this every time. So the devil remind you with this all the time and humiliating you and said, you tried many times to escape. You cannot escape. You tried everything. Nothing is working. It is the end of everything. Just I'm in control of you. It is the Goliath versus you. And Goliath sometimes, that's him. That is your giant that sometimes you face and you cannot actually defeat. Same technique. First thought of the morning, last worry of the night. Your Goliath dominates your day and infiltrates your joy. People who always think about this thing, it's make us miserable. It's very sad when you feel sometimes something is controlling me and I cannot escape. It's very bad when I feel sometimes, something humiliating me. You know what the word addiction came from? It's very interesting. The word addiction originally is a Latin word, means slavery. And it was, described the people who slaves. So addiction, you became a slave. And nobody wants to be a slave. So when you feel I became a slave and I cannot get out of this slavery, it's something humiliating me. And the devil, morning and the night and every day, remind you with slavery to make you more miserable and more down and more bad. But what's the David techniques? David measures in God. He sees the giant mind. He sees the giant. Mind you, He just see God's more so. He was very realistic. He knows there's a giant. There is a problem. But he saw God more. And he said, God is more powerful than the giant. And that made the things more, peaceful for him and more challenging. And later on, I'm going to tell you a triangle of challenging and how to defeat it. But this is what happened. He measured in God. He know what God did to him. So he realistic. I know I have giants. I know something is bigger than me, but I have a bigger power than my giant. And again, remember this theme all the time. You focus on giant, you fail. You focus in God, the giant will fall. That's the technique. Giant, we must face them. Yet we need not to face them alone. Focus first and most on God. The time David did, giant fell. The days he did not, David fell. And that's what happened. Many times, even after the victory against Goliath, sometimes David didn't focus on God. He fell in a very bad things. Sometimes even he was, very upset, and sometimes he felt, like I'm betrayed. Then he started to fall in some, bad things because he forgot to focus on God. He focused on the giant. So that's the lesson we need to learn. You focus on the giant or you focus on God. Then, as we said here, focus on the giant, you stumble. Focus on God, you giant stumble. Remember this all the time. Focus on giant, you stumble. Focus on God, you giant stumble. God does not see the same way people see. You know the story how they picked David? It's a very amazing story. Saul was a bad king, and God was angry at him. Does anybody know why? Why God was, turned around from King David, and he didn't accept him as a king. Saul, sorry. Why God said, I regret to make Saul a king, and I don't want him to be a king. What? Not that only. He did many things bad, many bad things. First of all, one time he offered a sacrifice to God. And that's not his job. He's trying to think that he is like a priest. And God didn't like that because that's a work of the priest, not a work for him. So he offered a sacrifice, and Samuel went and he told him, God rebuking you. Another thing, he didn't obey God. He went in a battle, and God told him, don't touch anything, from the battle. Just leave everything. Don't touch any cattle or anything. But he was like, no, what if I take some of the cattle and try to offer with them sacrifice for God? And he heard the voice of Samuel telling him, obedience is better than sacrifice. And that's a very famous that you're going to find in 1 Samuel chapter 15. So Samuel told him to obey God is better than the sacrifice. And from that point, he told him, God rejected you and you're not being a king. So they would like to, to choose a king. He went and God told him to go to Jesse in Bethlehem and choose a king for me. And Samuel was old guy in that time. He went to Jesse, and Jesse has like 7, kids. So he was looking, one after the other. And the first one was tall, looks nice, muscular, and then it looks like a king. So he said to God, Samuel said, is this one? He said, no. Second, the third, the fourth. And God told him the very famous verse. He looked outside, but God always looked towards inside. People got deceived by the appearance, but I look to the heart of men. And finally, all the kids of Jesse, ended. And then he told them, do you have anyone? He said, yeah, I have a really young boy, shepherd, that sheep in the field. I told him, bring this guy. And he was a young boy. And God told him, this is the one I want. Because his heart, I searched his heart and I found his heart like mine. So he chose David, who was the youngest of all, his brother, and he ordained him as a king. And that's how God sees David. So God sometimes, maybe you say to yourself, I don't know how to do it. I'm weak. I cannot do that. I cannot fight. But God sees that, no. And I'm still young. I don't have issues. I have issues. God said, no. I look at your heart, not at your appearance or your age or your capability. David the king. What happened during that time? Corruption from within, danger from without. Saul was weak, the nation weaker. What did God do? He did what no one imagined. He issued a surprise invitation to the nobody from nowhere. And that's how God, showed the things. Everything's broken. And he just looked in Bethlehem. And Bethlehem was a very small town. Was very, no name, no nothing. And he went there and he said, pick that David from there because he's mine. God, what his capability has is just a shepherd. Don't worry, I'll work with him. Then, raging Goliath. What happened? Controlling moms, coaches from the school of Stalin, a pit bull. You guys, stop opening this door. Close this door now. The pit bull math teacher, the self-appointed cubicle commanded, and the king who resolved to spear the shepherd boy to the wall. What happened? David, after God lifted him, he has a bad spirit. So David one time went and he was playing the harp for him to calm him down. He going crazy and he tried to hit him with the spear, and the spear went to the wall and David escaped because he just went crazy. So what among all this? This is the time that we face sometimes, Bad teacher in school, bad manager, bad parents, whatever. That's what we face. And that was around David. But the hand of the master weaver took Jonathan and David's hearts and stitched a seam between them. Who is Jonathan? Anybody knows who is Jonathan? Who's Jonathan? Actually, was Saul's son. But he loved David so much, and he tried to, give his dad good word about him because Saul knew deep inside, he heard that he was ordained as a king. So he lied to kill him many times. And it was a battle between him and David many times. And David said, and many chances Saul was in David's hand that he could kill him. But David said, I cannot lay my hand on the anointed one. That this king was anointed by God. Somehow, I cannot kill him. So, Jonathan was really good. He was trying so hard to defend David. But every time he tried to defend David, his dad cursed at him and, say very bad words to him because he's trying to be there. But God sent Jonathan like another support to David. Then don't worry, David found a companion in a prince of Israel, and you can find a friend in the king of Israel, Jesus Christ. Even if we have nobody, David, his heart was stitched with the prince of Israel. You have the king of Israel. You have Jesus Christ himself. He's in you and in your heart, and that's why it became very important. The God who made the miracle out of David stand ready to make one out of you. If God did a miracle with David and how he defeated Goliath, he can make a miracle out of you too. Against any trouble, against any circumstances, against anything. If the people knew what I did, scared, guilty, and alone, he could be an addict, a thief, child beater, a wife cheater, he could be she. single, pregnant, confused. He could be any number of people, for any number of people come to God's people in his condition, hopeless, helpless, and helpless. David wondered the same. He is one of the Lamb. He wanted man in the soul court. The young face decorates post office posters. His name tops Saul's to kill list. He runs, looking over his shoulder, sleeping with an eye open and eating with his chair next to the restaurant exit. What happened? David was fighting him everywhere. And David went in a cave, tried to escape. He wants to kill him. He sent people to kill him, and sometimes he has to spy. And irony, he went even to Palestine to protect him against King Saul in some point in his life. And he act like a crazy in front of them that he's mad and something, so they don't kill him. So he don't have an easy life, but his eyes was focused in God. Let us move, to something else. David buys assurance by lying to the priest. One time he went to the priest and he was hungry with his people. And he went to the priest and he told him, Saul sent me to have a fight and I'm hungry. So he gave him the bread that should no one eat. But it was an exception and he gave it to him. But that's when he lied on himself. Then, when he lost his God's focus, Goliath on the biggest screen of David's imagination. As a result, desperation has set in, lies pounding, fear staring, truth shading, desperation. David teaches the desperate to seek help amidst God's people. You will never know that Jesus is all you need until Jesus is all you have. This is the thing that the wisdom of the day that you need to learn. You will never know that Jesus is all you need until Jesus is all you have. You know, one time when we recognize this in our life, when everybody left us, when we are alone, I don't have any resources. I have nobody whatsoever. I have no one to help me. I ran out of money. I ran out of resources. I ran out of people. I ran out of friends. I ran out of family. I ran out of all this. And I have no one. That time, when this happened in your life, you will understand Jesus all you have. Then you will know really, it's just everything in your life is just all what you need is Jesus, no one else. David sometimes went through this experience when everything turned sore around him. He understood that no one can save me except Jesus himself, except God. But what the technique he did, that's what we need to talk about it, and that's a practical thing. The Bible said he took 5 stones and he put it in his sling and he hit Goliath. And it's a funny scene, Goliath, that big guy with sword and armor. And David, even when he tried to put on the clothes of the war, he fell. He couldn't walk. So he said, I'm not get used to this. Take them away. So everybody laughed at him. I told him, oh, you go there and like this, face that giant. And he said, yeah, I'll go like that. And he said, you cannot. He's going to kill you. He said, just leave me alone. So what happened? He put that, 5 very, very sharp stones, on his pocket or in his bag that he's carrying, and he has a sling. And what happened? He hit the first stone, maybe nothing happened. Hit him. David was really good in this. So it hit him in his forehead. Maybe nothing happened. The second, the third, started losing balance. The fourth, he was dizzy. The 5th one, he fell. And what after he fell with the 5th stone, David ran, took his sword, cut off his head, and took his head and give it to God's people to show them the victory, what he did. And what is this 5-stone technique that you should do when you're facing a giant? The 5th one, the stone of persistence. I was reading a presentation 2 days ago about something else, actually it's not religious, but something amazing. And he said 95% of people give up before reaching their goals. He said only 5 to 10% of people who really achieve their goal that they want in a timely manner. Why? Because they give up. And they are not persistent. And this is the thing that we need to understand. One of your biggest problems in your spiritual life even, or normal life, you're giving up. How many times you tried to read the Bible and in a meeting you said, I tried for a week and after that, I didn't continue. How many times I tried to pray and I prayed for a week or two and after that, it's gone. How many times I tried, to stop bad things or whatever, I tried and then came back again. Because they're not persistent. David first stone didn't do anything. He didn't run away. He kept doing. He hit the first one, the second one, the third one, the fifth one. Maybe first prayer doesn't do the trick. Maybe the first trial doesn't do the trick. Keep going. Never give up. That's a problem, One time, a man of God said something. He said, even if you die, but you die fighting, you die with honor. But when you run away, you're a coward. In a battle, that's what happened. If somebody ran away from the battle, he's just a coward. But even if he fights, but he's not a winner, he's still a hero. Because he did what he can. But if he ran away and he given up, then he's just a coward. So persistence is more important thing. That's the stone that you need to hit all the time, the devil or the circumstances around you. Family issues, money issues, work issues, some whatever, like all the giants that we talked about. Keep doing. So the first stone, I'm gonna let you, say them after I finish. The first one is what? Persistence. What did David use the 5 stone one after the other? I do, he said, imitate him, never give up. The second stone, which is very important, is stone of priority. What does that mean? Is it right, like someone stupid like this Goliath, that he just pagan worshiper, doesn't know anything about God, humiliating God's people for 40 days, day and night? If this sounds right? No. Our life stopped. Because this guy humiliating and scared us for 40 days, we cannot do anything. Palestinians, the Bible says at the time they were afraid even to go and do harvest in the field because they're humiliating them and afraid that the Palestinians can anytime come and kill them and take their crops. My life stopped. So it's a priority to do what? To face this giant and get rid of him. Because he's controlling my life. I cannot do that. That's the first priority for David. David even didn't care about his own life. People told him, this guy can kill you in a second. Look at you. You're just going with a sling with 5 stones. And this guy, like a giant, has all, the armors and the sword and everything. And the big hats and everything. And what is it? I said, I don't care. My priority is to stop the humiliation, to stop the fearing, to stop everything that they do against God's people. That's my priority, and I need to do it. So sometimes you need to understand what's priority in your spiritual life, what you need to fight, what's controlling you. Social media, time management, anything like that can really ruin your life. And this is priority. Because you need to get rid of it because it's an obstacle in your spiritual life. So the first stone was what? Persistence. The second one was what? Priority. It's a top priority to get rid of this guy. Because, like I said, God's reputation. David jealously guarded it. That was David's priority. I cannot let this guy humiliate God and God's people. And he mocking them about their own God. I cannot handle that. That's why sometimes, we need to understand a lot of things. We see these days a lot of people humiliating our God in the net. And they said bad things about Christianity, about God, about Trinity, about it. What did you do? It is priority for you to defend the God and try to work and try to even study and to know how to answer them, and don't let, and you have the jealousy not to let them humiliate your own God or your own church. Sometimes we don't even think about it. And he told him this verse, he told him, all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel, then all this assembly shall know that the Lord does not save with swords and spear, for the battle is the Lord's. He told him, you're wrong. You think you can save yourself by the sword, but God does not save with the sword. That was his strength. Then, David saw Goliath as a chance for God to show off. Did David know he would exist the battle alive? No, but he was willing to give his life for the reputation of God. He didn't know that he may, he may die. Yes, surely. He didn't care. God's reputation is number one. That was his priority. What if you saw your giant in the same manner, rather than begrudge him, welcome him? Your cancer is God's chance to flex his healing muscles. Your sin is God's opportunity to show his grace. Your struggling marriage can be billboard God's power. See your struggle as God's canvas, that God can do something. So look at your giant in the light of God. God maybe used this opportunity to do this. He used the battle between Goliath and David to show that he's a mighty God, so everybody can fear him. The third one was the stone of passion. What that mean? David ran, not away from, but toward his giant. Sometimes we have to do things in the spiritual life with really passion. He was not lazy or just trying. No, he had that power in him. Passion in the spiritual life is very important. When you do something with a passion, it gives you the power. It gives you the moving force to move forward. When you do something, just whatever, it's not going to let you continue. But he had the passion to do this. He wanted to save. Listing hurts won't heal them. Itemizing problem won't solve them. Categorizing rejection won't remove them. David lobotomized the giant because he emphasized the Lord. So passion is number 3. Number 4, the stone of the past. Do you know what happened in David's life when he was a shepherd? Has 2 incidents. He was shepherd the flock. So one time a bear came and he tried to eat one of his his sheep. So what happened? With the word of God, he was not afraid, and then he killed him, and he saved, his flocks. Another time, a lion came to do that. So what happened? He actually took the lion and choked him from the back with all his strength, and even took his jaws apart with all his strength, and then the lion died with the name of God. So he remembered what happened. Taban was not like an African lion, a big lion in this area. It was a lion like a small one, but what he did. So David remembered God had given him a strength to wrestle a lion and a strong arm a bear. Wouldn't he do the same with the giant? Remember how many times you're in trouble, in a problem you're about to sink, and about to really lose a lot, and God saved you. How many times you struggle in something, in an exam even, you're not studying good, and you pass it with good grade. How many times you're in a deep problems, and God saved you. If you have a memory with the past, with God, God can save you from the giant that you have now. Sometimes we need to sit down. Trust me, one time a monk told me this, but I forgot definitely to do it. I do it for a little bit, but I'm a lazy so I didn't continue. He told me, write everything that God saved you from. Write it in a journal every day. For example, I tell you something happened to me 2 days ago, and it was amazing. I even was telling people this, and people couldn't believe it. I was in Los Angeles for a trip with the priest here to welcome the new ambassador in the Egyptian Council. He came and he would like to meet all the priests. So he went there. We went all of us there to have some coffee with him and introduce him to us and introduce ourselves to him and something like that. In my way back, I said, you know what a boring trip, this kind of, formality does not fit me. So I said, in my way back, and I had Bishoy and Andrew with me, and that time they had days off from their work. So in my way back, I decided to go to what we call the Sequoia National Park. And Sequoia National Park, if you may know, it has the biggest tree in the world, one tree 275 feet high. And the weight of this, tree is 1,375 tons. It is a giant tree in the whole world. And all the forest of the trees is very high, tall, 150, 200, 250 feet high. And we're hiking back. And of course, Bishoy and Andrew, they are younger people, they are not tired. I'm an older guy, so I felt tired. So I found a bench under one of the trees, a very tall tree, maybe 200 feet or more like that. And while I'm sitting there just taking my breath to continue our way out, what happened? A big, pine cone, that big, fell from the tree when it has a very sharp, end from down there. And even we have tourists standing in the front of us. They screamed because it was so close to my head. It missed it was 2 inches. And what happened? We found a voice of an explosion, and I said, "What is this?" And then we looked down, and they found the whole thing was smashed into pieces from all this height. Taban, I imagine, and even one of the tourists standing, he said, "Father, that was so close." And the other, and her husband with her, and he said, "I think, Father, you have a heavenly protection. It just missed you." And it was really true. It's almost 2 inches or 3 inches behind my head. Imagine this, if it fell on my head, I was gonna in a second. This is no question asked. It was very sharp end from the beginning. It's like a cone like this, and it came into pieces, shredded into pieces the biggest piece like this, from all this height. I'm an engineer, and I know if the speed of this thing is moving, it's like a bullet coming in your head. This is no joke about it. And then God really saved me. The irony, I was talking to God 2 minutes before about something, about the problem with something, and I said, "God, if you have all this creation of big God, you can't solve this problem." Trust me, I was telling God secretly that between me and Him. And I told him, "God, if you have all this giant thing and all this nice creation, you can't solve this problem. This is too hard. I don't think this is going to be too hard for you." And in a minute, these things happen. It's as if God is telling me, "Don't worry, I am, the Almighty God who controls everything. I saved your life, then I can solve any problem. Don't worry about it." And that the answer came that quick to me. So, and it was really, astonishing for us. So sometimes when we remember things like that, nothing can fear us. Nothing can control us anymore. Because if God did this, He can do a lot. And He can do the future. He can make all the giants fall in our hands without any issues, without any problem. He remembered the past. A good memory makes heroes. A bad memory makes a wimp. You have to understand that many times you need to think about God did to you to be a hero. Like they write today's words in the sand, chisel yesterday victories in a stone. Remember this story. It said a friend was walking together, and one of her friends get mad, and he hit the guy, his friend, on his face, slapped him in his face. So his friend wrote in the sand, "My friend, slapped me today on my face. Then he forget about it. A few days, that friend was about, to, I think, fall in something, and then that friend that who hit him saved him. So he went there and he chiseled in the stone, my friend saved me today. So his friend was wrong. He told him, when I slapped you, you wrote it in the sand. When I saved you, you put it in a stone. He said, yes, because when I put it in the sand, the wind is going to blow it away, so I will not remember that he slapped me. But when he did something good to me, I put it in a stone that I will never forget what happened. So that's why they said, put your worry in the sand, that the wind is going to blow it away. But your victory with God, put it in a stone so it will never go away. The last one, the stone of prayer. David turned toward God. You have been my defense and refuge in day of my trouble. He told him that. And then he told him, prayer is essential in this ongoing warfare. Pray hard and long. This is what happened for David. David, he said that to him. And even before he hit him, he said a very emotional prayer. He said, God, they may know that there is a God in Israel. Put him in my hand like you put the lion and the bear in my hand. Put this guy in my hand that they may know there is a God in Israel. He didn't say the glory is going to come to me, but it's come to who? The God of Israel. And the stone of prayer, let God answer to him. And with these 5 stones, he hit this Goliath. And then, if you remember those 5 stones, we can go, to them quickly. The last one is stone of prayer. The one before that, stone of the past, the memories. 3, stone of passion. Stone of priority. And then stone of persistence. That's the 5 stones that you need to do in your life to really have victory over your giant, whatever it is. Any questions? All right, I'll leave for you because I have talk in another meeting too, so I have to run to the meeting. Thank you.